Recording live from count them, two locations.
This is Past the Rock.
Oh, I am Patrick, and this week I am joined by one great man, the ball knower himself, Jacob, aka Bethke.
With some balls.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Caesar couldn't join us this week, but that's all right. We'll handle this week without him. Not just a ton of worldwide sports if you're not into the Olympics going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a pretty basketball heavy episode this week. But
Even that's kind of forced.
A little bit, It was also All-Star Week.
Yeah, it gave us a little bit of wiggle room.
And pitchers and catchers just started, or I guess the full team started spring training this week on Monday. So that's not a lot going on as far as Rangers goes.
If you're a Rangers beat writer right now, you're banging one story to death, right?
Yeah, there's cooking drama that doesn't mean anything anymore.
cooking former drama.
Yeah.
But I get it. What else are you going to talk about?
As far as the team on the field, yeah, we got pretty much confirmation from Skiv that Brandon Nimmo is gonna get the nod to lead off at the start of the year. Obviously, he's gonna start in the outfield. We got the top 100, 150 prospect list. The Rangers had 5 in the top 110. They always have a bunch up there, though. So
Have we done a Mackenzie Gore reaction at all?
No,
I don't think we have. Yeah. Look, I mean, look. If you want to get excited, that's when you get excited.
Jordan Montgomery's back, but he won't pitch until after the All-Star break at best.
Yeah. I mean,
stacked rotation, so I don't really know where he's slotting in exactly.
Middle reliever.
But yeah, so the Olympics are happening. I know the Winter Olympics isn't everybody's favorite thing. I happen to love it mostly because it's got hockey in it. U.S. men's team should do pretty well. We still haven't won a gold since 1980. But they're always, ranked in the top 2 in the world, basically. Sometimes falling down to 3, I think. But we won all 3 of our games in pool play, and we barely squeaked one out against Sweden today. Today was the quarterfinals, and 3 of the 4 games went into overtime. Canada almost lost to Czechia, which would have been.
I mean, I could, if there's a random place to come out of nowhere and win at some hockey, Czechia is exactly where I would pick.
And unfortunately, a couple of complaints that I have is that they went to a 3-on-3 for overtime in this Olympics. I get it in the NHL regular season just to get them out of there because they got to travel and stuff, but
they just want to keep it consistent.
They should be doing full 5 for Olympic hockey for sure. That's what they do in the playoffs in the NHL anyways. So,
gotcha.
And then, of course, the way the pools work is always dumb. Like, we had to play Sweden today, who they're only ranked low because, it's just like they do seeding in all of our stupid sports where the divisions matter a little bit more. And outside of baseball, I don't think that division should matter as much. Maybe football, but.
No, yeah, the groups can always be a little goofy. Even in basketball, always like.
So Group B had 3 teams that went 2-0-1 or 2-1 basically.
I just don't understand why you stack them like that. Don't they have world rankings? And you can take 1, 2, 3, 4.
The problem might be that Germany's like super high ranked in the world because they do better when there's like non-NHL players in all the tournaments.
I've always wondered this because even when they do the basketball one, I'm like, why the fuck is Spain and America in the same bracket? Maybe nowadays that's more normal, but like there's been times where you're putting the 2 biggest, like we've been in the same bracket as Serbia before. I'm like, the fuck? This is like wasting our time. This is the gold medal. Like, we don't want this now. If France and America were in the next one, we'd be pissed. Like, they should play at the end. Have some romance.
But yeah, where we're at right now, we got the semifinals. That'll be, I believe, tomorrow. Friday of this week, so the day after this comes out probably. USA's got Slovakia. It's a 2 versus 3, and then
how's the Italian hockey team?
I don't. They were the group that didn't win a single game in Group B.
I would imagine. Yeah. Well, at least they got there.
But
they were allowed. They were forced to be there. But
Canada's playing Finland, and Finland's got like 4 or 5 Dallas Stars there, so I'm gonna extra pool for them.
Is it just
Uh,
Ott on the American team?
yeah, they didn't bring Jason Robertson for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They thought they'd go with their I don't know.
Well,
I'm not gonna say.
who's the best American right now? Because the McDavid kid's Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't. Man,
And then you've got the Chicago guy. Is he a
I mean,
American?
people would say Connor Bedard. I think people would say Austin Matthews is probably the best
Oh,
U.S. player.
he's
But
Toronto.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to think though, because the conversation.
I mean, that's what matters. Like, I need to know who the best guy is. 'Cause, like, you're leading America, bro. It's like, I mean, we just watched Anthony Edwards take over All Star. I'm looking at 2028. I'm like, hey, you might be number one on Team USA. That's important.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I'm just looking at some aggregated lists here. Would list Jack and Quinn Hughes up there, which that makes sense. McAvoy's really good. The Matthew Kachuk, who's one of the
Okay,
asshole
yeah,
Kachuk brothers.
right. The Kachucks, because
He's
the
more of
name
the-
doesn't make.
He's
me
more
think
of the model that they've built the team around rather than the Jason Robertson type. We'll say that.
I see.
But anyways, we're at least we got a chance to get a medal here. We should be in the gold medal game, but Slovakia is no joke, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much all I had on Olympics.
Kolachi killers.
There was that funny thing with the Canadian curler guy who it's not even like cheating's the wrong word to use. He just broke a rule. It was a violation. And then
So it didn't like end in anything.
well, so it's weird. They have officials there, but they usually just don't do anything. Typically the game is self-policed. So they should have just moved that stone off the ice and then kept playing. But instead, the Swedish guy called the Canadian guy out. The Canadian guy said, fuck off. And then that was it.
Okay, it has been a little not controversial, but there's been a lot of the things I've heard about the Olympics aren't necessarily athletic. Like, I guess Lindsey Vohn's horrific injury, and then you have
Well, I mean, yeah, unless some speed skater sets just a crazy record, like what do you know what I mean? As far as the games go, there's not a whole lot of storylines.
PBS has been doing their damnedest to keep me updated, and I'm like, I don't know why you're doing this, but I guess we're here, so we're just gonna keep going on.
I just watched hockey and the curling, and
there was a guy, I think it was a Ukrainian guy, got kicked out for having some political statement. I think that was right. And then the one that even my wife found out about was there was some guy who won and then used his platform to apologize to a woman he cheated on.
Oh, I did hear about that story. Yeah.
So I mean, that's
immediately,
yeah,
after.
post game, if post game, how did that go?
He needs to get in the support group with Will Smith.
Yeah, so I mean, look, hey, that's what gets you trending and viral, So that's
Saw
got
a
to be good
Coldplay
for the
thing, and
Olympic
they're like,
Committee.
"How do we use this?" Yeah. So yeah, there's always going to be those kind of storylines. I'm more interested just in the games themselves.
Could I name 5 Olympic sports, Winter Olympic sports?
Yeah,
Without the 2 you've already named.
I could give you at least
Skiing,
7 more. What kind of skiing? You could break that down into like 3 different ones, I think.
snowboarding,
Yeah.
bobsledding, slippery fencing.
Come on. You're missing the most popular one in the entire Winter Olympics.
Which one?
Figure skating.
Oh fuck, figure skating, dude. You're right. That is. Oh yeah, the quad god busted his ass and lost.
And you get speed skating. You got skeleton luge. You got the thing where they ski and then they pull rifles out and shoot shit. That's a fun one.
That's during the winter.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, the point I'm making here is it's already difficult to get the Southerners to understand hockey. We're doing that decently. To get us to now understand that there's a whole world that we should care about around.
Curling should be the most accessible one. Every culture has a version of that.
I've never seen a human
Shuffleboard?
being. I don't even see people play shuffleboarding here.
No, like you get the concept, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
but like I
that's how
see
I feel
people
like.
actively not want to do that.
Yeah.
Like they just go unused at bars.
I do think they should get some winter X Games stuff going in the Olympics. Like, give me some fucking snowplow jumps and
SSX tricky. That's what I want.
yeah, if the snowboarders were allowed to punch each other while they were going,
Yeah.
that would be a much better event for
But
everybody.
yeah, so it is good, and good for it. Good for the Italians.
But yeah, I'm also excited for the Olympic hockey to be over because that means the Stars can come back and get into a playoff push. Still in a great spot there.
Is there any delay or any?
There's probably like an additional week, 5 days off from the gold medal game until whenever, because they haven't, they completely shut the league down. So the Stars have had volunteer practices.
Yeah, how much does this impact the actual league? Because the NBA
lot.
probably would never change their. Honestly, there's a good argument that they would never do the extending season thing that I want, not because of summer league, but because of what it could do to the Olympic team.
Yeah.
I mean, it already is an issue for the Olympic team because they're usually playing the first games during the finals. So if you have any guys on the finals, in the finals, then they can't join the team until like 2 weeks into the tournament. So obviously that's not ideal, but you got to do what you got to do.
That's why they should just run the NBA from Christmas till like April 1st. I'm kidding. Last hockey note though, the U.S. women's team, the best in the world, are obviously going up against Canada for the gold. That's probably Saturday, I would guess. I don't actually know what day that is. I can't imagine they'd be doing that the same day as men's semifinals. So
when is the entirety of the Winter Olympics over?
I could not tell you. It's got to be pretty soon though. Started something like February 6th, so it's already been.
Oh yeah, it's this weekend. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, I
think it's Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
Yep, and then we'll get back to regular life in America. But instead of talking about all of that,
whatever that means,
we're gonna cut over to
CP. Oh, that's what you meant.
No, I mean, I don't like any of that. I want to make jokes.
I don't either, but I don't have any other choices.
Okay, well, I can't bring up your little graphic, so this is now your
your
hoopla show.
Woo! All right. Well, we're here. I don't know why I'm in the full screen here, but I'm here. We are going to talk about CP, but happier kind. We're going to talk about Chris Paul. He is done. His career has ended. I mean, I say happy. It didn't really end happily. Probably one of the worst send-offs we've ever gotten. I think that's fairly true. He had seemingly one of the better options to go back to the Clippers, cement his legacy with the franchise that maybe he'll be most remembered with. And that just didn't go well. And then now it's even funnier because, Harden's out the door. That team's being reimagined around Kawhi, who's having a great season. You're almost like, it feels like Chris Paul could have just sat on that bench and there would have been no difference from what we're seeing and what's happening right now. But we understand how Chris is and who knows what was happening behind the scenes.
Sounds like it's more like how Ty Lue is.
Honestly, that's very fair too. Very fair. Either way, the egos didn't work out. The Clippers did make they did end up making like a post for him. This post was ruthlessly mocked and even got them yelled at by Chris Paul's wife, I believe. That was funny. He ends his career a Toronto Raptor, kind of, technically.
Like how Dirk started as a Buck.
Yeah, I guess so. But I feel like
Kobe was a Hornet.
I feel like if your draft rights are traded, it's less than if you were traded and then your contract was bought out. Because technically, Chris Paul will be on the books for maybe a year or two, depending on how they decided to do that. So, I mean, it's not like they owed him a lot of money, but structurally, they're going to decide how much they want to pay to how it fits their bills or whatever. So, because I think like even JaVale McGee's still getting paid by the Mavericks for a while. There's a great dead cap table. You think the Jerry Jones dead cap table is great? Yeah. You should. Yeah, there's some great dead cap going on in the NBA. It always has been, really. Never forget that when LeBron signed with the Lakers, they were still owing Luol Deng $5 million a year for like the first 2 years of him being a Laker. But anyway,
It's rough.
just hilarious. So yeah, Chris Paul also said that the Spurs were the best organization he ever played for, and that they actually were the ones who made him a plaque.
Oh yeah, dude.
So that was kind of strange to me. I
You
was
know
like,
how he's so it might get forgotten in time, but very instrumental to what we have right now. That's going on right now.
he was the original three
And maybe
guard lineup.
maybe
I
that's the
guess.
thing is you only want him around for like a year before it starts to get wear thin.
No, I
Or
think for
maybe
San Antonio, honestly, I feel bad for him because I think if San Antonio is in a position to draft anybody but Dylan Harper, you might even have seen Chris Paul stay. But I mean, at that point, yeah, you would have been. It would made no fucking sense to have four guards essentially the way that you guys have them.
coach on the bench, dude. Come on.
And then I guess in other Spurs news, we find out that more about your boy Sohan every day. There was the baby mama story earlier,
Right.
but then there was another one where apparently he didn't see his fit with the organization, like they didn't do enough for him. And he's like, like, didn't you start the season at point guard one time? But anyway, I mean that seems like they were trying their hardest to get you on the court, bud. But anyway, we'll see how it goes with the Knicks for him.
I hope it goes well.
Another San Antonio story to move from. Not that Chris Paul needs to be moved on quickly from. It's just I mean, he's an incredible basketball player. He's the point god. There's a lot of fundamental basketball kids can learn from Chris Paul at the same time.
If CP got into CP, he could get a CP. And we'll let you figure out what all that means.
God damn it. RIP Doug Moe. We'll move on from that. Former Spurs coach.
I guess I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, Doug Moe passed away a couple days ago, 2 days ago. We don't always do the RIPs every time it happens, but this one I just thought was interesting because I think Doug Moe is one of the most vital people to the sport of basketball, especially the NBA that we know and love today. And you probably don't know that unless you're a bit of a nerd about it. He originally started out in the ABA. He was an ABA All-Star, North Carolina kid, so obviously comes from one of the bluest of blue bloods when it comes to college basketball. And then he ends up being an ABA All-Star. I think he was ABA is a fast-paced offensive league. He was sort of the Steve Nash of that era. I don't know how perfect that comp is, but that's general idea. As a coach, I think his first job was the first job the Sixers, or was the first job the Spurs in the ABA? Because he was Gervin's coach. I believe it was Gervin's coach, and then for 10 years he's in Denver. I know that. I think the whole 80s. I think literally from 80 to 90, he's
okay. So his first head coach job was Spurs 76 to 80.
Yeah, and then 80 to 90 is Denver, right?
Yeah.
And then he finishes out with a little WAN in Philly, right?
And then goes back to being a Nuggets assistant for 5 more years. Yeah.
Where did the Sixers come in? I thought he was a Sixers.
92 to 93. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was a blip, right?
He was an ABA champion as a player, NBA coach of the year.
Yeah.
In 88.
But most specifically, obviously stats and accolades are great. Doug Moe maybe isn't as great in that regard as his peers. But why Doug Moe is important, not just to the Spurs and the George Gervin of it, the Denver Nuggets of the 80s, if you know anything about them, and I do encourage basketball fans to go back, it's a very fun team. Now, they didn't win anything, and there's reason for that. They did not play defense, okay? And that's a fair criticism. But in the 1980s, sort of going from the ABA, going into what the Spurs were initially with George Gervin. I believe Artis Gilmore was also on that team. He went over to Denver, and you get Alex English. Who else is on that roster? Kiki Vandeweghe. Who else is on that? I am trying to think of all. Bobby Jones, I believe, was on that roster. And so the 80s, you have this really talented offensive team for the Denver Nuggets. And again, they don't win in much. They don't win a whole lot. But they score just a absolutely insane amount of points, right? Like ridiculous amount of points. I think they were regularly getting up to like 130, 140 in the 80s before we'd ever seen that kind of shit. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of who else would have been on those
Just going
teams.
through each year to see if there's any name I know that you didn't say.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Issel. Dan
Yeah,
Issel, he's old by that point. You get a little bit of David Thompson, Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. But yeah, I guess it's by the mid 80s where mid 80s where this thing actually starts taking off a little bit more. Like I said, it's mostly Alex English is the guy that people remember. Kiki Vandeweghe sort of
Pat
there.
Lever, dude.
Fat Lever, that is a good pull. Yeah, Fat would have been their starting point guard for a lot of that, I believe. What else? That's funny. Danny Shays. I haven't heard that one in a while. Dolph Shays' boy. Nepo baby. Calvin Nat was a pretty good player, not like an all-star, but pretty good player. So yeah, just basically, like I said, it's a very high octane offense. You took away a lot of the sets, you took away a lot of the boring half-court basketball that, honestly, the way that you learned basketball through watching the early 2000s Spurs is the antithesis of what Doug Moe did for the NBA.
Like, he created transition basketball.
He created a world of freedom, I think. Artistic freedom is how I'd like to call it. I think he understood the level of basketball played in the NBA did not require the same level of micromanaging that it does at lower levels. And while sets are great and they obviously can help you, nothing is as perfect as when that jazz band is just playing in unison naturally, and they're flowing off of each other because they all know their part, but they also know the full thing too. So they know how to play in and out. It's not an easy coaching strategy. And nowadays, I would argue it's impossible to do because no offense to these players, but it doesn't feel like these players are quite seeking the knowledge and the design. Like, it seems like these guys more often than not are happy to use their athleticism out and really not like, it really doesn't feel like we have a ton of guys that are trying to see their athleticism to the fullest potential. And unfortunately, you got to break a mental sweat to really be at that level. So
I thought this quote of his was funny about joining in after the merger. So he said, one of the biggest disappointments in my life was going into the NBA after the merger. The NBA was a rinky-dink league. Listen, I'm very serious about this. The league was run like garbage. There was no camaraderie. A lot of the NBA guys were aloof and thought they were too good to practice or play hard.
Yeah, and honestly, if you think about when did he come into the NBA, this is right as the NBA is in its most unpopular, right? Unpopular for a couple of reasons. Is there some coded racism in there? Potentially. It is something you have to look at.
The full extent, he basically talks about how what they did in the 80s when Stern comes in and they do the all-star stuff and the three-point contest and stuff like that. So I don't know.
The race war.
He was just talking about literally just the attitude of everybody around.
Well, it's important to note, and that's why I said I won't go. It's hard because there is.
But I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I didn't pick up on that in that quote, I guess.
Right. And well, the issue is not Doug Moe in particular. It's the North Carolina roots. It's the time in which he came in. And it's the fact that that's actually what people were yelling about. People hated Kareem Abdul-Jabbar too. You have to realize he was the outspoken one, right? He didn't just do what Wilt did and Bill Russell did and just take it on the chest. Now, Bill Russell had his own ways of protesting, but he didn't have the same level of television, radio access that Kareem would have had. So Kareem had this massive influence, and Kareem was very outspoken, and people didn't feel like he was respectful of them, even though he was a great player. And so there was a lot of coded racism in the late 70s, which I added to the apathy. There was also a lot of cocaine, which added to a lot of injuries and probably a lot of what Doug Moe is talking about. So it's kind of this 50-50 thing where you have to understand where America is and you have to understand the dynamics of what was happening with the players at the time. But otherwise, Doug Moe probably is fine. It's just...
Yeah, it just seems like he thought people were lazy in practice.
If George Karl would have said this, I'd been more worried. But yeah, so... It is one of those things, but he is right. I mean, the league was in a bad place, and that's historically been shown.
I thought it was funny because I'm like, hey, guys now don't want to practice.
No, and just like we're seeing in a lot of other times, I mean, things are doomed to repeat themselves if people don't listen and people don't pay attention. And I do think that there's a fair argument for the modern NBA sharing some of that. It's just difficult because it's never going to be as unpopular. And the racism has always existed, but not like it's not as large. It's really just whiny baby stuff about tall guys or about, all this coded bullshit. It's really not a good attack on anything. In fact, I think most of these modern right wingers and people who are, dabbling in a little racism on the regular, I think a lot of them would end up liking the league more if they felt like they were represented more in the league at this point. Because sports gambling, I just don't think we're in the same spot there as we once were. But the saturation and the laziness
like from other countries.
Yeah, exactly. And so
his name is Cooper Flag.
Well, don't forget the KKK club.
Who?
Con Knipple. The Con Knipple club. Con's really good too. There's two really good American white boys in this.
I haven't seen much of him at all.
He's really good. But anyway, that's the point of it. I do agree with Doug Moe a little bit on that, but and I do agree that the league has regressed a little bit. But it's also saturated, and that's probably where you get into the expansion talks, where it's like, I don't feel this way when we get into the postseason, but I understand why people are this mad during the regular season. Which ties us into my next point. Tank talk. It's every year at some point we're gonna have to talk tanking and how it's bad and how everyone in the NBA should feel bad for doing it, even though we just laugh at the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets when they do it regularly. Like we don't really criticize them the same way. Baseball.
Is it tanking if you've been doing it for 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, people, but like honestly, you can look at a lot of the teams.
Difference. Like when the Spurs were doing it, it was obviously tanking.
I think the NBA just does it the most blatantly, and that's why they get yelled at the most for.
Well, yeah, it's in football you just don't have enough guys to be like, I'm gonna sit the quarterback today.
You also don't have enough guys that can change the direction of your franchise, like that. So that's obviously fair. Baseball, people don't really care as much because there's so much that has to go into a baseball draft and then following the prospects and all that bullshit. Like technically it worked for the Astros. Technically it worked for the Rangers to some extent. I'm sure there's other Orioles are doing really well after a big tank, right? I mean, they put themselves in position. What you do with it when you're in position.
Had one good year.
What you do with it when you're in position is up to you. So yeah. So
I think the Mavs did it perfectly. They just barely tanked into the lottery and then got Cooper Flag.
Well, the Mavs did. I think that's really where Adam Silver's comments are coming from, because I feel like he created this monster and now potentially he's having to.
The whole problem with that theory is the Kyrie injury, but
the issue is here. Once that happened, it made it easy. Just like when the San Antonio Spurs were a hapless organization without a superstar. They had just been riding DeMar DeRozan as hard as they could, and there was rumors of Austin. There was all this chaos going around, and everyone was like, "But that's the Spurs." Like every international player loves that. Like this team is important to us, even if it is a small market, whatever. And the hand of silver layeth upon of the Spurs. You know what I mean?
We had to lose a lot of games, though.
That is true, but if you do it,
we had to play Jeremy Sohan at point guard.
That's the point. Is if you do it, the hand of silver will reward you. Oh, you saved my Los Angeles Lakers. The hand of silver has awarded you. So look, it's just one of those things where I think Utah. It's just funny because it's Utah, and then you have the one fucking kid who decided he wanted to go to fucking BYU and has been like and the Utah. So it's like, of course they feel like we see what you did for San Antonio and Dallas, and we want that shit here. And I think that you do have to.
You're still being punished for Karl Malone, so
yeah, you do have to. I think they should be punished more for keeping the Jazz name. If I was Adam Silver, I'll put it this way: if I was ever the commissioner of the NBA, they need to go ahead and change their name, because I promise you, I will do everything to fuck your franchise until that name is back in New Orleans. That shit pisses me off to no end, and
It's a weird one.
I don't like it. It's not good. Y'all were uncreative when you brought the team there in the 80s. I get nobody gave a
Right.
shit. Or
But
70s, I think. They've been there for a while, so I get it.
I think all they have to say is how many lakes are there in Los Angeles right now?
Completely reasonable. At the same
It is not a
time,
culture. It's also
it's not a cultural thing. In lake and water, people are stupid. They don't know the difference.
America.
And honestly, it's LA. They'll build more lakes to satisfy the quota. But yeah, so no, but that is a good one. It doesn't. It's mostly because Minnesota Timberwolves is cool. New Orleans Pelicans fucking sucks.
It's not great. Even
So,
Hornets was better, even though it might not have made sense.
yeah, they got that jack too. So either way,
I do want to bring up the other end of the tanking spectrum for this season, though.
well, we can. Hold on. I just wanted to clarify a couple of the stories that happened. So
Sorry.
there was some real stuff. This isn't just ESPN and Twitter. The Jazz got fined because they sat Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen in the fourth quarter of a competitive game. That obviously pissed a lot of people off. And then Adam Silver says that economists are like, they're consulting with economists that claim that the lottery incentives are actually not ideal.
And we're sure that's not coming from the gambling companies.
I mean, that's where you've got to wonder who these economists are. I just thought it was incredible. These just economists. You're just like, we're just consulting some economists. No specifics, just some economists. He also said this is the worst tanking's been in a long time. I don't know how you
quantify that.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess maybe with you.
Last time it got really bad, you created a play-in thing.
Which has kind of worked. It does kind of work for the tanking, because it's sort of this beautiful thing where if you like your team, you get to go into that play-in being like, we got a shot, and then we win this. We get to go up against a team that's, you know what, they're young. They did better in the regular season than they should have. That's a decent matchup. We'll take it. And if you lose, you get lottery odds, just like the Mavs did last year. It's kind of nice. I actually think the play-in has grown on a lot of people, because it's objectively not like the most intuitive thing to do, but I do think a lot of people are happier now with this funny version of mediocrity. You know, not Bulls fans maybe, but now the Bulls suck enough to be just clearly out of that thing, you know, and maybe that'll help the Bulls fans. But like, as long as you're not one of those teams who's just perennially in that thing, it's kind of fun. It's kind of like this nice little, if we win, you know, maybe we got a shot at a young team. If we lose, fuck it, we get lottery odds now. So I think it's not perfect, but it helps. And then they did say that the competition committee has proposals ready. So I do actually think there will be some sort of tweak, change, whatever this offseason. Who it is, why it is, that is to be determined.
Yeah, I was going to say, when is the CBA up? Because that seems like...
No, they don't have to do CBA for that. It's just like the NFL. The CBA only really matters for a few things, right? It mattered a lot for relocation because the money was going to be different this time than ever again, and it's why expansion.
I assume at least, you know, we've talked about and we've seen stuff about people starting to float the idea of getting rid of the draft entirely. That seems like the CBA would need to be involved.
That I don't think is even close to happening. I think that's fringe opinion. And then where the other stakes go, where they're talking about a tournament to play for the number one pick, which is something you can do in 2K right now.
I like that. That's fine with me. Earn it.
Sounds good, doesn't work.
Yeah, until you have like a team that's just a perennial team getting the top pick every year while they barely finish at 41-41.
Yeah, but honestly, even that I would take. The issue is very simple. Patrick, I'm not fucking playing so someone can replace me.
Yeah.
Like
my first thought was you wait till there's a year like the year before Wemby's coming out, sit everybody that whole year, then start them for that tournament.
But I think this exercise shows you how quickly and easily it is to scheme up new tanking. I think you have to accept tanking is my point. Now, can they be better? Obviously, they're attempting to try. Will it work? I don't know. Will it be like the tournament where it's just kind of the play-in rather, where it just kind of helps like a little bit, I guess. I think you can incrementally get better, but I don't think you can do this quick fix at all. So I just brought it up because I thought it was interesting. What is the other side of tanking? You mean being second place with the Victor Wembanyama on your arms?
The 40-20 rule, Phil Jackson's famous 40-20 rule, which I did the math today, and it's about 92% of the time since 1980. The team that won has been a 40-20 team. So right now that would be the Thunder and the Pistons.
And to explain this, you're meaning 40 wins.
You reach 40 wins before you hit your 20th loss. So some of the exceptions are in odd years where there weren't as many games or whatever.
Yeah, you have a couple lockout seasons to deal with.
But so it's only been 4 times out of since 1980 that a team who won the title didn't get to 40 before they lost 20. So currently the Thunder and the Pistons are there. The Celtics need to win 5 in a row, and the Spurs need to win 2 of their next 6 to get there.
So
that's fun.
It's nice, honestly. To me, that Phil Jackson argument is the inverse. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you could do this and it'll make the odds a little bit more chaotic. But that Phil Jackson stat, which I believe the Houston Rockets are the worst seeded team to ever win a championship.
Yeah.
I would say that more argues for a 12-team playoff
instead of 16.
Yeah. I mean, that argues to me that you would cut down, but they're not going to do that for money purposes. They're never going to do that.
I don't know that helps anything because those rounds typically don't matter anyways, right? I guess I'm trying to think how
I would say 1 through 6, and giving 6 is giving a little bit. Maybe you could go to 10, but I think 1 through 6 to make it an even number or an easier to split number. I think that would be. I think that would probably be the
down in the NBA 1 through 6.
Yeah, I think 1-6 would be a decent matchup.
You're still playing a Western and Eastern Conference schedule. You're saying
no, not you don't have to go top down, but let's just take it for right now. The standings you have.
What do you mean? Are you saying both conferences get 6?
Yeah, both conferences. You would just do 6 in each conference. You would do Oklahoma, Minnesota to start. That'd be a great matchup. San Antonio, Los Angeles Lakers. That'd be a good matchup. Nuggets, Rockets would be a good matchup. I think you would have basically 3 second-round series instead of 4 first-round series.
Oh yeah, I'd be down to get rid of the first round. It's entirely unnecessary.
It's right. You're right, but
5 games.
You're right, but it's not going to work. And it's the same reason why I think
I know that they're not going to do it. But it was better as a 5-game series. I'll tell you that.
What's better though? I think better is for maybe the guy who watches every game. Yeah, but that's not. See, but you're thinking of it from a neutral basketball standpoint.
Well, I'm thinking of it from my team. My team was always like a 1 or 2 seed, and I just didn't need to see that round.
Maybe, but I think if this is going to be your main sport, just like if we're treating this like we treat NFL fans, where we don't really give them the credit of caring about another sport, you should think about every sport that way. That's the core audience. That's who you should be marketing to. I think for the core audience, the first round currently sucks because we get maybe 2 good series total. Yeah. That's the reason, not because it needs to go faster. We want that much basketball, but we get shit quality.
I mean, we're arguing the same thing of I wanted it to go faster because we were playing the Timberwolves.
We get absolutely shit quality, and I do think that's frustrating because
I wanted to see because I knew it was all right, at some point we're gonna have to play the Mavs. I just want to get to that so we can see how that goes.
And I think for yesteryear that works. I do, but again, when I look at Adam Silver's rule, I'm like, I like the Suns, I like the Warriors, I like the Suns and the Clippers. I think one of them is a upstart team that had to rebuild itself and has been playing really well. The other one is basically just being drugged through the fucking shit season they're in by maybe the greatest Kawhi Leonard season we've ever seen. Blazers, Warriors, I could do without in the playoff. So, I guess all it says is maybe I don't need to play in a little bit. But
well, I mean, when I'm looking at least right now, my first thought is we get rid of the play-in and you only take teams if they can freaking win over half their games.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think injury in the NBA it has enough frequency. One guy can screw up months
Yeah.
of your basketball season. I do think that accounting for that has
Lose your
made it better.
you lose your quarterback, you don't just get to be like, "Oh, well, you're still good enough. Once he gets back, we'll let you in."
No, and I get that, but we saw the Bengals had a mathematical shot when they were what 3-9.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can still, what if they had a way to get into that extra spot? I think that's why there's 7 playoff teams now. Is they wanted to make sure just in case there was an injury plagued team that they could get hot at the right moment or whatever. It's the
I
idea
think
of the
it was
Cinderella.
also to add an extra game to both sides of the
Well, it's
bracket.
always that. It's always
Yeah.
that. It's always the money.
It's
But
definitely
like,
not to do with the competitive integrity of the game, or else
because you
they'd
have to
change
remember
shit.
that's the other part of the in-season tournament. It was a separate package you could now
Yeah.
sell to a media team. So whatever he goes with that. I don't know. Like I said, tanking is what it is. I think we can move into All-Star. I don't know if you have.
Here's your 4 teams that won a title without winning 40 games before losing 20. The 99 Spurs only won 37 games. Okay, sorry. The 95 Rockets 40 and 25 ended the season that way. The 04 Pistons, the 06 Heat, and then the 21 Bucks.
Okay, that makes sense. 21 Bucks. You have lockout, or you have COVID, weird COVID.
But they lost. Yeah, they still lost 24 before they got to 40.
You have it was a good team, not a great team. Maybe Brooklyn should have won that series, and who knows. But Rockets makes sense because Rockets were old that year. They trade for Clyde Drexler in the middle of the season. That's what ends up sparking them. Same with the Detroit Pistons. They were good, not great.
Year, right? Yeah, the second title.
Yeah, that was the second year. And then they were good, not great. Detroit was, and then they trade for Rasheed Wallace. So that all of those are accounted for. So really, that only strengthens the Phil Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's especially at 90-something% over 40-something
It's
years
really
now,
just
like,
one team that I would think was because again, you have the Pistons and the Rockets reimagine themselves mid-season. So that kind of makes up for that.
And that Heat team.
And the Heat, right? The Heat.
That's a Mavericks collapse, is what that is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we could get into a lot with that particular title. I would say if you just take away the controversy and the Mavericks of it, it's still a fairly new version of that team because Shaq just got there for the most part. I think he got there the season before.
And then before or after he was in Phoenix? I don't remember.
This is before Phoenix.
Before, okay.
Yeah, because the Heat should have gotten a good run out of Shaq, but clearly Shaq's work ethic was going maybe in the direction it always was in.
He had to go to Phoenix and then Boston, and then that might have been it.
He got run out of Miami. Yeah, Pat Riley ran him out because he was getting fat.
Yeah.
And that's also basically why he got ran out of LA.
That was the 40-20 stuff. What you got on the All-Star break?
All-Star was fun. It was interesting. There was changes. Some were good, some were bad. No, some were mid. I think there was no real bad changes. They were just not also that awesome.
I was confused what team world, team stripes, team.
We'll get to that one. Let's start with the dunk contest. The reason we start with the dunk contest is there's a couple of interesting notes. We just saw Unrivaled do their one-on-one in their version of All-Star like a week before, maybe the week before.
New female women's basketball.
Right, the women's 3-on-3 league. They debuted one-on-one. Went very well. In fact, that might have been some of the most eyes that they've gotten because that's what people want to see. Basketball's like that is the ego of basketball.
Absolutely what the fans want to see. I don't think any NBA player at that level is ever just same as a dunk contest. The ego is going to stop that.
Naturally, you're right, and I have a couple of things that are evidential points to this that I think are
maybe if they see how successful it is with the women, they'll want to try it.
Well, I do think it's good. I think it's very important that the women did that because I do think it more or less puts the ball in the men's court,
so to speak.
Yeah, and allegedly NBC is already pitching that for next year, which I kind of love.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to do it; it's another thing to have the players people want to see do it.
At this point, just get it through. We'll see who comes and goes as they come and go. At this point, all I really want them to do is just to let's do it. Let's just sign it up. Even if it's fucking G Leaguers, I still think it might have a better opportunity to succeed than kind of the current stuff we're doing. The dunk contest feels too much like NBA history to get rid of. At the same time, you kind of do need something to go with it, something to spice it up.
I was thinking about that earlier today, and oops, I was thinking, just let the college players do the dunk contest.
I think that could work. I do think that could work. And then to your point earlier, Mac McClung apparently was not allowed to participate in the slam dunk contest this year, or was not asked to attend. Um, and that was because they couldn't get NBA players to say yes to it, allegedly. So that's
So he was not asked because they couldn't get.
because they weren't like NBA players are afraid of him.
Oh, got you.
The winner was Keyshawn Johnson, who I'm pretty sure is on a 2-way deal with the Miami Heat. And
I don't mind. For the dunk contest. I definitely don't care about that. Like, I just want to see someone who can fucking dunk.
Again, to your point, the G Leaguers, which a 2-way deal is just one step above a G League contract.
And honestly, that should have been part of the deal of getting Bronny onto the Lakers, is he has to do the dunk contest.
You know what? That's fair, especially because Jackson Hayes was fucking awful. So let's talk about the funny parts of this dunk contest. Jackson Hayes tries to do MJ's free throw dunk as a 7-foot guy, but the fact that he doesn't even get to like the key, or like he like is well past the line when he takes off, absolutely hilarious. And then he had the audacity to post the side by side of him and MJ on his Instagram.
Keyshawn Johnson signed a standard contract in December of 24.
Okay,
he started on a 2-way.
Yeah, okay. So he's just not really a rotation.
But he was assigned to the Sioux Falls Skyforce. So
yeah, you can still assign NBA players. There's just only so much you can do that. Like when Anthony Davis was rehabbing, they assigned him there to practice.
It's confusing because he hasn't played in the game this season.
Yeah, he probably doesn't play for them at all. He's probably just a mascot guy.
I don't think he's played for Sioux Falls either, is what I'm saying.
He's probably just with the team. Basketball internship. Especially for this. He won.
Now I'm very confused. I think it should be someone who plays the game.
So he won by dunking over E40 and hitting the Dougie, basically.
Okay.
Not really, but that was like his first dunk, and I think it left a good impression. Everything else was sort of mid.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest problems from the dunk contest I've seen, is that they're like, they can't just look at one dunk and judge it.
Jace Richardson hits his face on the side of the backboard trying to pull one off. That was pretty funny. Your boy Carter Bryant came in a close second. If he probably would have landed the final dunk, he might have even won it.
Good job, CB.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise you got 4 guys who were pretty athletic, make dunks look cool, but they also make them look too easy, you know? So it's just difficult. I think the dunk contest is a difficult fix because it's so culturally a part of the NBA's heritage, like we were talking about earlier. But at the same time, none of our good players want to do it anymore. Like Jackson Hayes might be the last lottery pick to do it, and I don't know how long. And that's lowering the bar, you know? So I do find that to be an interesting idea moving forward. What do you do? Do you replace the dunk contest with one-on-one, or do you supplement it? I think you probably supplement it. And honestly, even funnier, why don't you do a dunk contest head-to-head? Do we need 4 guys? Let's just pick 2 guys, let them do the best 4 dunks and see who has the best score at the end.
This is apparently what Mac McClung said he was going to do.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled this one up. Yeah. So
you will let him play.
So I think the NBA is going to have to move on from some of their bullshit, you know, because we have really talented guys, and like go get the dunkers, go get the guys who actually do this for a living. We say this every year. That's cool. He touched both toes with it.
Is and one still a thing?
He's very. There's versions of this. There's plenty of guys out there, Reckley,
That's
Duncan. Like, there's plenty of
crazy.
guys that we
That
can.
is insane.
There's
Sorry.
plenty of guys that we can bring out to do fun stuff like that.
Why haven't they got Dude Perfect yet? What are they doing?
No, please don't say that.
It'll
Because
take,
Dude Perfect.
it'll
No,
take
because
36 hours to get one dunk.
because Dude Perfect probably calls basketball round ball, and they also probably think that there's I feel like Dude Perfect is stolen valor. They got famous off basketball. They got famous off basketball, but I think they low-key hate basketball and basketball culture. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think that there was no skills competition thanks to your boy.
Oh, sorry, we fucking perfected the craft.
That was pretty funny though. The fact that they just got rid of it was fucking hilarious. I did not expect that. I didn't see that. Maybe I should have been reading the pressers on this
Paul
before.
made a fucking point, and they were like, "Yeah, okay."
That is pretty funny. That they actually just got rid of that old motherfucker and kind of did it really quietly, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I was trying to see if they pulled. They put in the shooting stars, whatever the hell that is.
Well, they didn't put in the shooting stars. They extended the shooting stars. So the shooting stars is the Rising Stars game, right? It's always been a part of that. That's what they're talking about, right? Talking about the Rising Stars game. It was called Shooting Stars this year for some reason.
Sorry, one sec. Oh my god. I don't need to disable my ad blocker to read your article. Come on.
They did that one. I didn't see this. Maybe I need to go back and look. Yeah, okay. The Knicks apparently won it. Okay, this is actually good. This is what I've been bitching about and wanting. So that's my fault for not paying attention to that. This is good.
Speed to team-based shooting precision. 4 teams of 3 players now compete in timed shooting rounds, attempting shots from 7 locations across the floor.
And the most important part is they mix NBA players with either legends or WNBA players. That's what makes it cool. It's like your city comes together to compete. So yeah, good for them. I will go watch that on YouTube later. Dunk contest was what it was. We didn't do that. We had the celebrity game. Not a whole lot to talk about the celebrity game. I just wanted to rattle off some names and see your reaction. DJ Mustard, Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
They did do Taco Fall. So to talk about some of the, like, I know it's funny, but like kind of worked. Shams was doing it again. He was caught on his phone multiple times. 2 NBA owners, Matt Ishbia.
It's only funny to be on your phone if you're on the court doing it.
It would have been a better bit, but he was just on the sidelines. Matt Ishbia and Rich Schnall, that is the owner of the Suns and the owner of the Hornets, playing. Jeremy Lin, White Chocolate were there. Keenan Allen was there. Some dude from Love Island, my wife would probably recognize, was there. But the best part was, for whatever reason, oh, hell yeah. Okay, so yeah. And then Allen Houston was working with them. There's just 3 of them.
Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson, Allen Houston, and Cat. They won. I saw that on the news.
Dad Brunson.
Oh, Dad Brunson was also on that team?
He's the celebrity passer or whatever.
Okay, whatever, dude. Reverse nepotism is crazy with Rick Brunson. But yeah, so Keenan Allen said that.
Meanwhile.
So Ruffles sponsors the celebrity game, right? This year they decided to have a bit at the end of all the quarters where the team captains played some sort of little game to see how the next quarter was going to be played. There were many various gags. There was rolling dice to see how much your 3-point shot was going to be worth. Fine.
Oh, they got D&D involved. Cool.
Yeah, it was a little too much. The funniest one by a long shot was when they did like a deal or no deal thing with cases, and they picked the case that allowed the Hornets mascot and the Grizzlies mascot to play defense, but only defense. So they were allowed to come onto the court and play defense on their side of the court, but they immediately had to get off when the.
One of the things that old college football games and hockey games maybe still have that made them separated them was mascot games. You could play a game of actual mascots against each other.
But the mascots weren't allowed to dribble. They only could play defense.
No, I'm talking you could play some 5-on-5
know.
NHL. Well, I think it's 3-on-3 NHL with mascots, or the full 11-on-11 on the old college football games. Having 11 freaking hook'ems out there was so funny.
But unfortunately, this is not what happened.
Basketball would be tough.
We just had because you can't see or like you can't feel the ball.
Dribbling with a wing.
You might, but you can't feel the ball either. So you could like it would just be so bad.
You're like it's basketball with fucking lag and delay.
Yeah, there's probably no shooting. Yeah, everything's just a lay-in. Yeah, so I just thought there was too many bits, but I thought it was cool. Same dude won MVP as last year. He's like an actor who doesn't do a lot of like big stuff. Like I forget the guy's name. He's like more of a TV actor.
Rome Flynn.
Yeah, Rome Flynn. Looks like the ladies. Looks like a heartthrob. Like the ladies are big fans.
We're sure he's a celebrity.
Yeah, like I said, I last year we looked up his credentials and I was just like, who? But it's same guy won it this year. I mean, it's it's
a bunch of stuff that I've heard about being bad. That's not always great.
It's a paycheck.
He had a 31 episode role in How to Get Away with Murder, which was a pretty big show. So
fair enough.
Oh,
of course. Is it R&B? It's almost certainly R&B.
1 second. He's Cuban, Irish, and African American, which is checks every box you need. Basically, he's not Korean. If he had
that makes sense about the Flynn part. That's funny. Yeah. So that was basically celeb game. Dame Lillard won the 3-point contest despite the fact that he's not playing basketball this season. Devin Booker missed like the last 3 shots. Otherwise, he could have tied or won. Not awesome. Bobby Portis got the least valuable shooter award for the guy who shouldn't have competed but did anyway. They didn't give that out. They don't give that out, but trust me, the fans remember the guy who fucking stinks it up at 3-point way more than the guy who wins. Typically.
It's a weird one because like I get yeah, like I don't even know how you could recreate like trying to do clutch 3-pointers, but
3-point is fine. The 3-point contest is fine. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. We all know what it is. We just probably shouldn't get Bobby Portis's, but then at the same time, you'd make the argument that that's why it's funny is when guys do that.
I only want the guys who have low percentages shooting.
Yeah, no, like we used to do back in the video game days. I was in the NBA Live. I would always take you could change who was allowed to be in the All-Star games. Like you could play the hand of God on it, and I would always just change it to the worst 3-point shooters and just watch it. And it would be like the guy would win with like 3.
Yeah, man.
It's 2005. There's like
David Robinson out there.
It was almost always 7-foot bigs.
Back in the day, yeah. It's tougher now because everyone can shoot, but except for Ben Simmons and Jeremy Sohan.
And then maybe both of them are already out of the league. We'll see. All-Star game was solid. We finally get to the actual game.
I don't know how old the clip was. I hate that it made me laugh, but it was Stephen A. Smith yelling, saying that Ben Simmons should be arrested if he even walks past a basketball arena.
Honestly, I don't think Ben Simmons cares anymore. I think he is good. The All-Star game format, it was pretty solid. Wemby got things started off pretty well. You mentioned it. It was Team World versus Team Stars and Team Stripes. Team World was just one team. Team Stripes was old heads versus, or Stripes and Stars, I forget. Old heads versus young guys.
That makes
young
sense.
bucks.
So there's 3 teams?
There's 3 teams. They played like a quick little 3-game tournament.
So they stacked the deck for USA.
More or less. Wemby had some fun. So basically, Wemby got this thing off started really well. He comes out, balls busting, they're rolling. But Team World did not look ready to compete at a high level. Karl-Anthony Towns takes a really bad shot at one point, and Wemby, I think, got subbed out for maybe even the rest of the – no, I don't think it was the rest, but I think Wemby got subbed out because his his body language went real bad, real quick.
When he noticed no one else cared.
Probably also just because Karl Anthony Towns took an egregiously bad shot, but it's All-Star. That's what they do. I think regardless of whether All-Star was doing well or not, Wemby was always going to struggle with this format. I just think that the NBA player sees themselves as a Clydesdale, big, strong, to be used in only the most pristine, important manner. And I think Wemby feels like he's more of a racehorse. I did that for Joker.
Yeah.
Who also doesn't, who notoriously does not give a goddamn about the All-Star.
Yeah, he's literally standing on defense in this.
Yeah, he literally, you could not get Nikola Jokic to give a shit about All-Stars.
I'm surprised he even goes.
I think that it's kind of it comes with the paycheck. And there's probably some cool stuff he gets to do. Jokic does like doing the fan stuff.
The weekend, yeah.
I think he just doesn't like the spotlight stuff. And he definitely doesn't like meaningless basketball. He barely likes basketball as it is. Felt like it was too long, I think was the biggest issue. You get old heads versus young bucks twice. And the first one, or I think it was 4 games actually that got played. You get the old heads beat the young bucks pretty well. Kawhi goes fucking nuclear. Kawhi continues to go fucking hot on Team World. So that's how we end up with the championship game of 2 Team USAs together. That one was a big stinker. Pretty much Anthony Edwards comes out smoking hot.
If only the MAGA people liked the NBA, they would have loved it.
I'm telling you, we were cracking up. We were cracking jokes. We were like, they're never going to know this happened. But it was...
they would have preferred this over Bad Bunny's halftime show if they could just ran this game.
Exactly. But it was bad. The old heads did not look very interested in the championship game. Oh, we had a little laggy. The old heads did not look interested. Are you freezing or am I freezing? Who's freezing? Who's freezing? Am I freezing? Are you freezing? Who's freezing? I'm freezing. Are you freezing? Is there a reason you're freezing? I don't know. It seems like the All-Star game was so good that Patrick is stunned. He's silenced. The haters have been silenced forever. No one will ever speak ill of Commissioner Silver's league again. We have the greatest commissioner of all time. Tanking is actually just a made-up conspiracy by the NFL. And that's all you guys really need to know. That, the NFL keeps infringing upon our weeks, our days, where precious basketball could be played, precious baseball could be played, hockey, all these other interesting sports. Maybe I'll even watch NASCAR. But no, the NFL says to keep going, keep going, keep going. And now Boss Man's telling me I need to pause. Because I pressed the middle button instead of the pause button. Oh, look at us. We're back.
Hey.
Nothing happened. There was no... We were just talking about how you were so amazed by this All-Star weekend that you'll never say another thing bad about our great commissioner, Adam Silver.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like me, so...
But that's pretty much it with the All-Star game. I don't know if you had anything else. I mean, I think we did a pretty good job on the All-Star game. Not what I would expect. So while there was an All-Star game, there was a lot of attention specifically on Sunday.
Ooh,
What?
Should I do my thing now?
You should. If this is the best point before we get it, is it a tease to what we're about to get?
It covers some of it.
Okay, then I think.
Well, he said two dictators naming Stalin and Hitler. He's always worried about catching flack. He said, I swear on Miss Bentley's he would pass me the bum. And he always tweets from his burner. And he DMs and his account leaks. And we say, Katie, it's 3 a.m., you must be lonely. And we say, Katie, but we can't help but be a bit disappointed. And the tweets ain't gonna stop, I believe it. Well, he's got a little bit of love for delusional Harden. In the Olympic film room, he tried to call out Steph. He thinks that book doesn't get quite as much hate as he should. And he always tweets from his burner. And he DMs and his accounts leak. And we say, Katie, it's 3 a.m., you must be lonely. And we say, Katie, but we can't help but be a bit disappointed. And the tweets ain't gonna stop, I believe it. He believes in lying under the stars and listening to the Beatles. And his ring count's been stuck at 2 for years and years. He thinks that selling drones to foreign nations is okay, yeah. And he called Jabari retarded. We said, Katie, it's 3 a.m., you must be lonely. And we said, Katie, but we can't help but be a bit disappointed. And the tweets ain't gonna stop, I believe it. It's 3 a.m., you must be lonely, must be lonely. And we said, Katie, but we can't help but be a bit disappointed. And the tweets ain't gonna stop, I believe it.
Oh my god, that was awesome. The deciding to layer your vocals was impeccable decision there. Oh, you're on mute now. Oh, you wore out your vocals.
Trying to hit the high note the first time was hilarious. So then I had to stack some stuff under it, but keep it there.
The very specific butt rock version of singing you chose to put into that harmony there was that was epic.
That was fun to ride. It came very easily.
Yeah, I guess you did mention it just a little bit. No, I mean you covered most of it though. That does help.
Provide us some context because I don't necessarily even know. I just pulled stuff.
Well, there's only so much context to provide. We should say that I guess this is all allegedly. This is also not necessarily been refuted. He answered some questions today. Don't know that we got clarity, but he didn't exactly own up to it either. I did see one report from someone I could not verify saying that he did take credit for it or that he did apologize to the team or whatever, but that I never saw a second report of, and I saw Durant speaking on this at a press pool. So that's the one I'm going to go with for now. I will say though, there was a lot of good evidence here about when these accounts were made, what they're talking about. I think you would have to be basically a schizophrenic to be this consistent, with the I and the, I mean, there's a lot of instances where he's talking about himself or, especially in the DMs, maybe not the actual tweets, but in the DMs himself, you're seeing quite a bit of very specific things, I and we and stuff like that.
Crayon eaters is always a good one.
Who did he put crayon eaters at? That he just.
It's about the Rockets.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Some diet group chat filed as part of broader Rockets roster assessment session.
Yeah, I mean the shit that he said about the Rockets is the funniest part because I mean this is brand new, dude. They're not even a year into this project. I felt like a lot of it was believable. If I had to power rank, I would say the James Harden one might be the best. If not, it's the Nick Kerr one or the Steve Kerr one that you have, where where he's basically like, where he more or less insinuates why the sun is named the sun. That was crazy. That was crazy because like we've already given Steve Kerr so much shit for
Steve Kerr never drew up plays or suggested anything, but he won a bunch of titles.
So that one, I think that one might be my favorite. That one is pretty good. Josh Allen catching strays is pretty funny. But yeah, so look, I don't know how true it is, how not true it is. We saw also a lot of what's it called? We saw a lot of pictures of him with his phone during the Sunday game.
Yeah, and then of course someone took a still image of when they're like announcing him, and I didn't see the full video, so I don't know if the context is real or not. But
they've taken the context away a bit, yeah.
Where it's just him looking dead at the camera,
which is good because I think maybe if KD did do this, that would be.
But again, I don't know if that was just because it's a still image, because still images always. You can put a lot on them.
If there's one, and I have had a lawyer look at this, I'm not joking. It's not that I actually had that. I just have a friend that's a lawyer and cares about basketball, and he did say that this would be inadmissible in a courtroom. So there's not a lot of like hard evidence. However,
it's funny on this site that there's like tags for criticism or whatever or neutral, and there's only one that's praise. That's the Drake one.
Oh yeah, no, and we've known the Drake that also helps the argument is that this account also rode for Drake the way that Kevin has. But no. The most damning evidence to me didn't even occur to me until your beautiful work of art. And then it hit me. It was 3 a.m. A lot of those were late night DMs. The reason I find that to be damning evidence is there are only so many people on this world that can live those hours functionally. Children. Using children to like 25 and younger.
Yeah.
Could someone have just been that far into the KD Stan world that he perfectly created a Stan version of himself and made it believable and all this stuff? Sure. At the same time, the only like few professionals that can live like vampires, we have it recorded in history throughout time, are the athletes whose days don't technically need to get started until like 1 or 2 anyway, because they need their best energy and hours for the 8 p.m. slot, sometimes 9 to 10 p.m.
And then
most
you
of
gotta
guys don't go home and go to sleep.
And then you got to go out and party, although he might just go home and smoke weed.
Right, which also lends to him being on his phone more than he should, right? So I think that's probably the most damning piece of evidence. So if anything, Patrick, you need to publish this video of your song, and then in the theory needs to be there, because I think the NBA Twitter needs to think about that. Who else is able to get off this many tweets from the hours of 2 to 4? Not many of us.
And yeah, it was very confusing when I first saw the posts, and I'm just looking at just like screenshots of DMs. I'm like, how do you even decide that this is Kevin Durant? Like,
there was a lot of digging into this.
Yeah, I've seen further things,
and I'm not going to explain all that because I don't care.
I'm like, how? Who even? You had to do so much work to put this together.
Which is what
not that much work, which is why people did it.
Which is what NBA Twitter does. And if you have NBA Twitter, you have NBA Reddit, you have multiple people that care about this that already know about it. They don't have to get caught up. So now everyone just attacks a project and they get it done.
But I guess, yeah, it ultimately takes somebody leaking it.
Which it takes a lot of people leaking it.
Someone in the group chat, right?
Yeah. And it seems like there was more than one group chat, no?
Probably. So, I don't even know I don't know what I'm even looking at some of the time.
One of them had the most infamous NBA Twitter follow ever, perhaps. Big Business. Big Business is an account that's been around forever. He kind of got clapped at one point. We thought he was gone for good.
I definitely I'm like, okay, rapper, actor.
Nope. This is actually why I brought Big Business up in the conversation. Is there's a lot of people who don't even believe he's a real person. There's a lot of people who actually don't believe he's real. That he's a media creation. They claim that he's a Toronto guy. If you look at his tweets, he's clearly very openly Muslim. He loves basketball. He loves music of a lot of varieties, and he loves hyping up women on his page. For that reason, his account doesn't show up much on my feed as much anymore. That's just bad for business, big business, if you will, for me to be having that.
Is that his legal name? What are we doing?
No, but we don't know who Big Business is. In his image, his profile picture has only ever been like goofy things. So a lot of people speculate that he's actually an amalgamation of what someone would think NBA Twitter would like to represent them.
I don't know how to find this. Like, it's
a
hard
very
to
black presenting man who happens to be Muslim. No, I'm telling you, it's one of you have to be chronically on NBA Twitter to also even understand how deep this conspiracy goes with him. But yeah, so that it is interesting. It is also worth noting Toronto Big Business has been more of a pro Drake guy, although he didn't really take a side. The account didn't take a side during the beef too much. Big Business, like I said, Toronto guy, allegedly Toronto based, and then usually is hyping up OVO and whatnot. So it's very likely that if anything, that would be the account that might have leaked it. But of course, it could have been another person. We just all saw Big Business in one of the leaked chats, and we were just like fucking dying because, of course, that account is in there. So yeah, there's a lot to it. I feel like it makes me a bit of a schizophrenic.
Big Biz the God.
Probably at this point. I don't know what his actual account is at this point.
At big_business_.
Yeah.
Ahmed the ears.
Yep, Ahmed. Yeah, Ahmed is technically the name. Yeah. So like I said, Is Ahmed real? Is Ahmed Big Business real? We don't know. We do not know.
He's doing a listening party live on YouTube, or he's just tweeting about Baby Kim. I'm a little confused about that one.
That's why people think he's an industry plant. If you look through all his tweets, he's always promoting motherfuckers' work, especially the day it comes out and shit. So if he is a real person, it might have been started by a real person, but it's also incredibly likely that some PR company has taken over this account at some point as well, but maintained almost I don't know, dude. I'm going to crack up.
They're better at running it than any other corporate account I've ever seen.
No, exactly. That's why
it's like a real account.
That's why people think it's a stealth account. People call them an industry plant all the time. It's an interesting one.
I hide to Prince.
Yeah. The big Kanye stan. Yeah, big Kanye stan account. Actually, that's probably where I would have originally seen him as much as the basketball stuff. I think he got big off NBA Twitter and Kanye.
The George Costanza of hip hop Ravens. And he's got a link for Underdog.
This is exactly it. Yeah. But no one really knows what this guy looks like, or you know what I mean? So you see where the conspiracy has come into play. Anyway, that's all on KD. LeBron put his foot in his mouth again. That was not as notable, but it did give us the Lacud James.
What did he do?
He said he wants to go to Israel because there was there was a reporter there. They set him up, and then LeBron.
I'd go.
LeBron I would not go to Israel.
I'll go wherever. I don't care.
It's not necessarily about the moral part. It's more about the part that I feel confident that Benjamin Netanyahu is just petty enough to have like
Oh,
even
you're already on the list.
like
Fair.
I think if you're critical at all of the Israeli government, you should
Oh
not.
yeah,
go
I'm just thinking of like
In
the
fact, Tucker Carlson just got detained today, right? By Israel. In Israel.
Ooh.
Yeah, stupid motherfucker. I'm not a Tucker Carlson guy, but how stupid do you have to be to spend your life, to spend a lot of your life like going, or at least the last 2 years going at the Israeli government and then going into their house? That's fucking crazy, bro. But yeah, Lakud James is pretty funny. If you don't understand Lakud or Lakid, I believe, I don't know how, actually, I think Lakud is how you pronounce it. Is it Yiddish? What is the Hebrew? The Hebrew. And that would be the far right wing party of Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. So LeBron got roasted for that. And then we got Michael Jeffrey Epstein to finish things off, which is unfortunate, both in the fact that no one, as far as I've seen, has used that. So kids, learn more about the history, because I know you know Michael, but if you don't call Michael Jeffrey Jordan, then I don't feel like you know ball. Yeah, I don't feel like you understand ball, because we all grew up saying Michael Jeffrey Jordan, because that's how important that was.
Yeah, we definitely all grew up.
No, everyone knows Michael Jeffrey Jordan if you're a hoop fan. Like that is something.
Yeah, I definitely know that is one of the AKAs.
And so I'm disappointed in the lack of Michael Jeffrey Epstein tweets after that video.
Hey, I was appreciative of getting some KDF stuff, and
no, there was a lot of good Katie Vance. Yeah, there was a lot of good ones. There was a lot of fun ones that people did. Like I said, Lakud James I thought was pretty funny and clever.
I have to bring back my Mazraeli defense league, but
right, exactly.
My Mazraeli defense forces is unfortunately now Nico's gone, so I might have to remake it. But
just put X's on his eyes or something.
I'm sure I could find even something more symbolic. That'd be fun. Let's do that. See if I can't get myself on more lists.
You have to start apologizing like Spike Lee. Oh yeah, Spike Lee also was controversial. Technically, he wore
the Palestinian flag. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Michael Jordan thing I think is mostly out of context. Old heads are weird, and old heads.
I think so there's a video, if you haven't seen it, you probably have. He's just like touching the back and bottom and back of legs of this kid.
Somebody got pissy on Twitter and tried to explain it that like the kid had gotten like champagne on him or something.
They did the ice down his shirt thing, and Jordan was just with him because that's what you know.
Oh, I see. Okay, and then pluck. That makes sense why you'd be plucking at it. Yeah. So look, old heads are weird like that. My only thing I would say to the old heads that this is kind of why right now is a bad time, and perhaps if we're being retrospective, allowing people who didn't have this sort of desire with children to do that maybe made it a little more normal for the people who did. And that's why we should consider not doing that anymore. That's it. That's all I will say about that. But again, this was probably just taken out of context, but it was pretty fucking random and it didn't look good.
Just, because of when it came out.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible moment. Like we would have never made this, like Chris Paul would have just been,
but
Chris Paul was CP before, you know? Like we didn't have to differentiate.
I've only ever known him as CP3, but
but the CP. Listen to the players talk to him. They call him CP.
Yeah, probably. I've just never known him.
Listen to the game. You hear people refer to him as CP all the time. But like now we're in a place where, I know that's always been a bit of an internet term.
Yeah.
But now we're in a place where that internet term is mainstream in the worst way possible. So it just is an unfortunate situation. Yeah, we had quite a bit of incidents. I think the only fun part to end on here, and what I would like to get your opinion on, who do you think, if someone leaked the KD account on purpose, do you think it was, let's say, big business or someone like him? Do you think it was Adam Silver trying to drum up interest to the All-Star game? Because honestly, I was watching the game. I was in group chat. We were all sending the KD files. You know, we were watching the game and sending the KD files. It was great for business in a way.
I mean, it seemed if you're doing the geopolitical or U.S. political spin on it, it is very much like or the Chappelle bit where like people are mad Michael Jackson touched some kids.
That's what I'm saying. So this is where I'm a little interested. The final culprit that people have suspected it might be is Rich Paul, who obviously this would have leaked maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour after LeBron's tweets about Israel or comment about Israel. So, it's probably not the fun answer, but I'd be rooting for it to be the Adam Silver one personally. Rich Paul doesn't make enough sense. I don't think that those guys actually feel like they have to apologize for any of that stuff. I think that is manifested from NBA Twitter or just social media reaction. I
would think right now every NBA owner, maybe not every single one, but for the majority, I think they all think Adam Silver is doing a bang up job. They're pulling in record money.
No. I mean Rich Paul. If Rich Paul was be the culprit here, because what is LeBron didn't say anything that bad. It's not like he was selling drones. Like he wasn't answering those questions. He just said he'd like to visit Israel. It's also important to note that NBA Europe is happening and Maccabi Tel Aviv is most likely going to be a part of it. So, like, are we surprised? No. It makes perfect business sense for him not to turn any sort of place off because, unfortunately, I love LeBron James to death, but he has not been one to really be the vocal contrarian, I guess. Like, I don't want to say that he does nothing in bettering people. I do think that he has his own way of impacting the world, and I think that he does do good in those ways. Not to detract from those. I just think that he plays it very politically safe at all times, other than maybe calling Trump a jackass. Like, what is that it? Like that's it? That's probably the most we've ever really got of him. So
man, I did not realize. So you're dating back to our talking about Chris Paul's nickname. It always makes me think about when the Rangers, when the MLB was having Players Weekend and they were going to let players put their nicknames on the jerseys. And I don't know if you can see that one on the right in the middle. That was Alex Claudio's
number
58 on the right.
Oh.
And someone had to explain to him in English that probably isn't what he thinks. It's not something he wants it to be.
Yeah. That one's really subtle, but yeah. Okay. When you say it, yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I can't remember. He's is he Dominican? Puerto Rican. Sorry, he's Puerto Rican. So it means something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it means in Spanish, but over here they had to be like, no, we can't do that, guy.
I'm glad that we got the draw up, the mock up, because it seems like he didn't notice.
I think someone released that, and I think that's when it got caught before he actually wore it.
Well, let the world product test for you, I say. Yeah, look, it is a funny part of it. We've had some of these, there was my favorite, I think, was when we had the bubble and everyone got to do their social justice messages. And of course you have Enough White, which was just funny. It was, I don't know if Derek Whiten chose to do that or not, but it was funny. It was great. We're glad he did.
It's my guy.
It seemed like you had a certain demographic of NBA player that chose education reform. And education reform was just a very funny one to have chosen. Of all of the options that were given, education reform kind of was the cop-out.
It feels like, but it also feels like I don't want anyone to say that I'm just like putting on airs. Like, that's not y'all could I'm not that guy.
It was a funny one. It was only.
It would be funny if someone just put White Knight or something like that on there.
I mean, well, you have to remember the NBA they only gave them certain phrases. They weren't actually allowed to do their own.
Well, then that makes even more sense. Of like, there's probably some that you're like, that's just I can't. That's not me.
I forget what all of them were, but yeah, I think
no one's gonna take it seriously if I'm wearing this.
And educational reform looks so bad, and now it's a meme, bro. Now I see that fucking photo all the time whenever someone's like just roasting someone for being neutral or taking some sort of like really like casual stance and acting like it's a big, like they've just been a revolutionary. Yeah, I remember Iguodala got the most shit for it. I think he was playing for the Heat when that happened. But someone, I forget who the meme is. It's not Iguodala is not the one they use. Is it fucking, I think it's one of the white players. Naturally, god damn it.
Here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the list if I can find it. Here we go. So one of them was liberation, equality, liberté, enough,
right?
education reform. Ooh, guess who's the first education reform I see on the Boston Celtics? That you can't guess. Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward. Yeah, that's who it is. It's Gordon Hayward.
Freedom,
Gordon Hayward is
love
the one
us,
that gets,
Black Lives Matter, respect us, stand up.
right.
Si se puede. How many more? How many more does actually sound like someone's name too? I kind of like that.
Let's see. Yeah, no, it's definitely Gordon Hayward.
A full quote on why he did education reform.
Yeah, Temple's been in the league for a while. What did he say?
The public school system isn't nearly where it needs to be in a country as powerful as ours. Allowing people to be educated, allowing people to learn more things, maybe even changing some curriculum to make things more applicable to real life scenarios, I think is something that really needs to happen. Yeah, cool.
Oh, Marcus Morris is the meme. That's even fucking funnier.
Andre Iguodala wore group economics.
No, that's what it was. Group economics.
Which is
that's what it was.
Is that just socialism with a different name? What are we talking about here?
Group economics one was fucking hilarious. Yes.
Yeah, that's co-op. That's just a co-op.
No, there was also some other players. James Tolliver, I believe. Or Anthony Tolliver. That's so funny. Fuck, I forgot it was group economics.
Dang, half the 76ers didn't wear shit. Joel, Tobias, Al Horford.
I mean, a lot of these guys, I really beg people to stop yearning for the year of Muhammad Ali and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They don't make them like that very often. We might be getting one with Wemby, but don't fucking jinx it. I'm tired of all these Wemby edits electing him the next pope. Let the man earn it some more. I think
it's funny that they had guys just wearing one of them just in their own language instead. Maxi Kleber wearing the German for equality.
Luka did too, right?
Gleichberechtigung. Yeah, Luka's is Inakaprovnost. My best Eastern European.
Actually, I think that was pretty good.
Well, it's definitely gonna be better than my German, that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, the statements are fun.
Any more funny ones here? I am a man. Do you know who wore I am a man?
Fuck, dude, I didn't realize there was so many options.
Oh, there's two. Interestingly enough, this is the first time I've seen this one. Two of them on the same team wore it. But one of them makes
what team?
The most sense on the Clippers.
Kawhi and PG?
Terrence Mann and Patrick Patterson.
Terrence Mann wore a fucking I am a man shirt.
I don't even know what that phrase is.
But like, if I was him, I also would have done that.
Yeah, I wonder if he asked if he could get the second head on there.
Damn it! Yeah, dude, it's been a while
for that.
That's actually when he got more playing time. I think was the bubbles when he actually started coming on. That's funny as hell.
Most of these aren't funny. It's not fun when they're doing serious stuff.
What did LeBron do? Did he do BLM? I think he did BLM. So I guess that would kind of be
I commend anyone that decides.
Oh, he did nothing. Yeah, that's right. He did nothing.
Something that didn't seriously resonate with my mission, with my goal.
Of course, yeah, of course.
I would have loved to have a say so. Okay, I would have loved to have a say so on what would have went on the back.
Yeah. He said he didn't like the options. Was more.
I had a couple of things in mind, but I wasn't part of the process, and that's okay. But he wasn't the only one to not wear something. So,
if they would have allowed me to do it, I think I would have said. Hashtag pissing on Ronald Reagan's grave.
Yeah.
It would have been awful, but it would have been mine.
It's the Calvin peeing from Hot Rod where it's split, and one of them's Ronald Reagan's grave, and the other one's the like a half Israeli, half China flag.
I love all the people of every country.
It's like, you know,
I
the
do
house
not-
divided
No.
the signs where it's like
No.
A&M and UT, but this is Israel and China. It's a house divided.
Oh god. Yeah. So
Oh, okay. So I Am a Man had something to do with the sanitation strike in Memphis. So at least that's got a root.
oh
So
yeah,
if you
yeah,
know
okay.
the context, it's cool. But without the context, you're like, what does this mean? I was thinking of Mike Gundy.
Do,
I'm
do
a
you
man.
think do you think Terrence Mann knew that, or do you think he did it because he was a
Yes.
man?
I think he knew it and was like, oh, this works out.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame him. You can't blame him at all.
Yeah, if there was an I Am Patrick, I would wear that one.
So yeah, it's there you go. Modern sports is fun. I don't think it's your safe haven for political sovereignty or representation in any way, shape, or form these days. I mean, these guys just make so much more money. They're even if they're not a part of the problem, I guess as you would say, these guys have no motivation to be political. They've phased out of the need. And I
Well,
mean, that's the reality that you have to talk about is like rich people phase themselves out of the need to be political in theory. And that's why they're so fucking callous. And so for some of these people, I think that they're these athletes, obviously the ones that come from areas where they don't have a lot for the first 20 years of their life or whatever it is. And they get it. And like I said, Anthony Edwards, you don't want to speak on what's happening in Minnesota. You know, honestly, don't. Because if you don't know, it's going to sound stupid and it's going to be worse than if you just said what you said. And yeah, people are going to be mad no matter what you do.
yeah, there's no right answer.
But it's
Everyone
just
thinks
like-
they have a right answer, but there's not one.
To me, it's a lot like chasing the ghost, like LeBron said. You were chasing the ghost of 6-0 if you're a basketball player looking to be the greatest of all time. And I think if you're trying to be an athlete activist, you're chasing Ali. You're chasing the GOAT. You're chasing the ghost. It's impossible to replicate in my mind what Muhammad Ali was able to do, with Colin Kaepernick being one of the only people that have come close, and he got fucking taken out of the league.
Yeah.
Craig Hodges taken out of the league.
Yeah, I mean the only reason Muhammad Ali didn't is because he wasn't in a team sport with an ownership.
Very likely, yeah, very very likely. And there was a lot of things that, and there was also just the way that
if he was in the UFC, he might not get scheduled for any more fights.
right, and that's true. And look, with Muhammad Ali, it was a couple of things, right? It was the Nation of Islam reaction, and it was the draft thing. It was you can't call me this word on one hand and then tell me to fight for you on the other. And that was an important message. It may be simple in the modern world, but it was important. And you can't be as simple anymore, I don't think. It does. There are complex problems that need complex answers nowadays. And if these guys don't have the fucking juice, then push back from the keyboard, push back from the microphone, give whatever answer your sponsor's telling you and keep it pushing. And all you're going to have to do is just understand that there's going to be some disappointed kids. I mean, it's true, but it's not like their fault. Like, you know, it's same with any artist, you know, it's you're in a position, you're held on a high plane and standard. And it's funny. And I think this is very true is in America, we treat our celebrities with the highest of highs and we treat our politicians with the lowest of lows. And that's funny because it's like I should be more upset at Lindsey Graham than I am at Anthony Edwards. Like it makes no fucking sense while we're spending all of our time mad at, or whoever is a part of your political faction. Like I should be upset with them more. Tim Walz in this case, I guess, if you want to be specific about Minnesota, you'd be more upset with Tim Walz's reactions and things than fucking Anthony Edwards. Like,
No, man, sports.
people. I know.
Yeah,
I know. And I'm not telling people shut up and dribble either. I'm just saying I'm not mad at you if you don't want to say it. Because
well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's gonna be more weight if there's less people talking. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think we squeezed a good amount out of this today.
Did well. I don't know how it's gonna run next week. I'm sure there will be more like other things to sprinkle in with just basketball. My goal was mostly just to go divisionally. We'll start with the Atlantic.
We can do a full Rangers 40-man breakdown if you need.
Absolutely. Well, we can have some little light bits of content here and there. But yeah, I'm going to do divisional breakdowns. We're going to start with the Atlantic. If y'all don't know what that is, it's the Eastern Conference. We're talking Boston, Brooklyn, Toronto. It is an ocean. We're talking New York and Philly. And we'll talk about where they are this season, what their roster looks like at the moment. We're not really going to do buyouts. We'll announce buyout stuff as it goes. And then we'll just kind of give you a general look. Obviously, that means if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, you're not going to get a lot of coverage because we're going to talk about
you're the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, I'm going to do it. I'm still going to show you what your playoff rotation would look like. I'm still going to show you and talk about your team, but there's just not much to say.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I had no idea how bad they were.
So, but the other 4 teams are very good. So that is a fun conference to talk about, or division to talk about. So that's what we'll do next week.
As they compete for the Nat Sweetwater Clifton Trophy. All right. That's what it's called. That'll end. And this week, hopefully next week, we might be all 3 be back. So stay tuned.
Caesar's laptop, get well soon.
I'm confident every day, to be honest.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. You appreciate his compliment?
Say again?
You appreciate TJ's words for it?
Sure, that's my guy. That's my guy.